most of you are probably here on the library issue. We sent out a letter to all of the existing library board members, had Bob deliver that last Friday to see if we could get what kind of a turnout we had. I was wanting more board members, but anyway, we've got some input from other people, which will be fine. I guess our basic concerns are what are stated in our minutes from last meeting. And what glasses do I have?
Could you read those minutes?
Yeah, I'm going to try to find what I had. That's what I want. That section of the minutes says Reva, Library Director Reva Phillips brought us up to date on what for the library. National Library Month. They're doing different classes, and then she attached a handout. And then our statement in our minutes are the library does not have a functioning board due to no formal resignations and trustees not showing up for meetings. A reminder that they have to contact us if they get below quorum so that we can appoint someone. As there is no operating budget for the 2018-2019 fiscal year, resulting in potential illegal operations. We recommended that Reva contact Library Legal Counsel and Brian Settler at White Pine County Clerk Attorney to figure out what's the best way to proceed. And did you get copies of the original resignations to Reva?
Oh, I have them here.
Okay. So that she's got it. So that's basically what our concerns are. I guess we've had this has been going on for an extended period of time. The library has not been able to function with a board, and once it became April 1st, that's a new fiscal year, which puts them without a budget. Prior to April 1st, they had a budget. So talking to Reva today, she's paying some of these bills out of her own pocket, which without having a board that's telling her that they're going to reimburse her, you could be in some potential loss of money. But my concern the whole time is that to protect everybody there at the library, to protect the library, we have made some comments to the fact that without a functioning board and without a functioning budget, the possibility of some potentially illegal problems. And we don't know whether they should actually remain open. That's as far as the statement went, not what you're seeing on some other information. That's as far as we went with it. We feel that the library is an important thing in this town. In fact, within the past month, I went to, based on my conversation with Brian Settler, I went to the school and asked them if they would be willing to let the village, if it became possible, to use the school boundaries for a district library. Did not get an answer, but I did not get a no. Again, talking to Brian, we need to have at least two municipal boards, possibly interested in doing this. So I went to Marion Township and asked them if they would be willing to help with a potential down the road of becoming a district. Again, we did not get an answer that's saying no, but they are willing to look into it after we get the issues taken care of that we currently have without a functioning board. Their board told, basically said we need to get legal opinion and some other things to find out where we're gonna go with this. I guess that's probably all I've got to say as far as bringing everybody up to date. The issue is, again, not having, without a functioning board, we need to protect the people that are over there, which would be Reva and the employees, and we need to keep it open. But they're not, without a functioning board, they can't pay the bills. So, alright, I'll open that up to the rest of you guys. You got anything?
I mean, I guess it has been a battle over the last couple of months, just that I've seen we've had a lot of different board members, and I mean, it would be nice to get some, I mean, there's a lot of people here today, obviously, from the community, so I mean, if there's people that are interested in help supporting, the library and, possibly volunteering for the board, that would be great. I mean, I guess that's what I would ask, because why do you think it's so problematic keeping people on the board right now?
What are the requirements to be on the board?
Well, I'll have her answer first, and then.
Okay. The requirements to be on the board is you have to be a voter. You have to live within the village limits, not in Deckerville, but within the village.
That's part of the issue,
Yeah.
that's part of
In
the issue,
Rochester
that
Field.
we're coming with a district that would increase the amount of people that could be on board.
Everybody uses the library from all around, but you have to be in the village to be on the board.
Yes,
That makes no sense whatsoever.
that's the way
Why
it was set
don't
up.
we change that?
Well, then change it.
It's not up to us to change that rule. That is a rule provided by the state of Michigan through the charter that the library was incorporated under. We have no authority whatsoever to change that rule.
May I speak, since
Yeah.
I'm on the agenda? I would like a correction, at least in the minutes. It was not a matter of trustees that were not attending the meeting. It was just one. All
Okay.
the other members were attending.
That's.
That seems misleading.
It makes it sound like everybody's problematic.
Well, see, the problem with that is, and we're gonna get back to, if one person is not showing up, you don't have a functioning board, so
Correct.
that's the problem.
Correct.
And that's why I guess you could probably put it as one person, but I
Yes,
don't
because it
feel
is.
that we should blame, yes, Kurt?
One way to resolve that is set a policy, because you guys are the board. You guys I did check with the lawyer, and you have to look at your policies and what you have set forth, because you are the controlling party in regards to, yes, Joe, yes.
What's the link
Okay. The thing is you are the entity that takes care of the checks and everything.
No, not
Am
true.
I correct? Joe? Did you
That is not
did
true.
you not appoint the person to replace the president that resigned?
Run that by me again?
Did you guys not appoint the person that took over the president that resigned? The one that was voted in?
Yes.
We did make that appointment.
Okay.
I'll address that real quickly, just because
Okay.
you brought that up. After my discussion with, and I do not have her name right now, unfortunately I caught a little bit, short here on my information, but the person I talked to is a lawyer with the Library of Michigan. That's where I had to go and finding out
What's her
what
name?
he,
What's her
excuse
name,
me, not
Claire?
our lawyer. I don't have that. I said I don't
I
have
think
that
that
name.
sounds right.
Because she is
I will-
not able to give any legal advice,
She's
and
not a lawyer.
she has made that
Okay,
clear.
hold on.
Wait a minute.
Please let me continue what I have to say. I'm going to finish so I had we went through, I tried to go to the treasurer of the county, because they handle the funds that go to the library. The library gets their own funds, they have their own functioning board. They are an autonomous board. They are not ruled by the Village of Deckerville or this board
That is
whatsoever.
incorrect.
I went to the treasurer. The money goes directly to the library. Okay, you guys, the board there handles that money and doles it out as they see fit. We do not get funds here. It's not a sub. There's no library fund in the Village of Deckerville. Okay, there are some. So, after that point, I went to the clerk. The clerk said the same thing. I asked, what are our legal obligations and she said she did not know what had to happen once that happened. Who would appoint those people to the board? Because they are elected by the citizens of the village. They are a individually elected board, absolutely autonomous to the village whatsoever. I then kept going, and when I found the person who could actually give me any advice whatsoever was a lawyer for the Library of Michigan. She could not give me direct legal advice. She went and did a whole bunch of research, and she found out that it was incorporated. The paperwork's actually a little fuzzy on exactly how this was done. It was a handshake contract back in 1938 with some stuff done in the 50s as well. This is a long-standing relationship that's happened over the course of a lot of time between the village and the library board. Again, the library board is their own entity, but they are tied to the village because there's been things done throughout the past where it's been a mutual beneficial thing. Everybody's just done it because it makes sense for the citizens of Deckerville. Whether or not it was legal 100%, it was just the things that were done. The building that the library is housed in is village property. The village for I don't know how long has done the payroll for them. The checks were issued. It looks like the people that work at the library are village employees. When it comes down to technicalities, they're not. They are not village employees. But people just kind of assume that they were because that's the way things were done. The village runs a payroll service basically for the library. That's how that is being done. Just because that's the way it's always been done. Does that need to continue? Probably it shouldn't, because it seems to be causing problems.
That's contrary to Michigan law. Did you ever read it?
What is contrary to Michigan law?
What you just said.
Go ahead, read it.
This is,
164, 1877.
Which is what the Deckerville Public Library was established on, which was Act 164 of 1877.
Okay.
I have given each of you copies before,
Yep,
but
read
I
it.
do have a new copy just in case.
Okay.
If you look at 397.211, it is on section 5, vote of city, village, and township to establish free public library governing board establishment, provisional and permanent membership powers. Except as otherwise provided in this subsection, a member shall hold office until a successor is elected and qualified. The office of member becomes vacant when the incumbent dies, resigns, is convicted of a felony, is removed from office by the governor under section 10 of Article 5 of the state constitution of 1963, or except as otherwise provided in the subsection, ceases to be qualified elector of the city, village, or township in which he or she was appointed or elected. That is just one of the few roles that you are responsible with the library. That is not autonomous.
That is not the village board that is responsible for those actions. That is the library board who is elected library officials. What you need to understand is when I went to there, I found out what our obligation as a village board is. The village board's responsibility, and what I was told by this lawyer, and we obviously need to get our
Who
village
does not
attorney
give
to look
actual
at it.
legal advice.
Absolutely. Now, hold on. Let me
Hang
continue
on.
what I'm saying. I was told that what we need to do is we only act when that board falls below quorum. When that board falls below quorum, they can no longer act legally. It then falls back to us to appoint someone to get them back to quorum. That is what I've been told. So any resignations that have been tendered that make you fall below quorum, that then falls into our purview to get you back to a quorum so you can be an autonomous functioning board and govern the library. That board is who governs that. And that's the members that those are talking about. That is not the members of the village board of trustees. I believe you 100% are taking that information and you're not using it correctly. That is not what you're reading. Those are for library board members and not village board members.
So you're saying your board does not oversee the library board?
100% we do not oversee the library.
So the
That is an
actual
autonomous,
city
and I've
village-
read,
You
it
folks
says
are the ones that
autonomous.
created the library.
We actually
and the
did
board.
not. None of us here created that library. I promise you that 100%.
The village of Deckerville did.
Yes.
Okay, and
You're
actually,
bound
do you
by
have any
previous
documentation that says such?
Let's speak
Okay.
one, let's speak one at a time and
Let's-
keep
one at a
this,
time.
and keep
I
it.
have the library, Michigan Library Act.
Okay, that does not have anything to do with how this library, this one library, was incorporated.
Okay, this is Act 164, 397.205, Section 5. All money received for the library shall be deposited in the treasury of the village to the credit of the library fund, shall be kept separate and apart from other money of the village, and drawn upon by the proper officers of the village, which would be Monica, upon the properly authenticated vouchers of the library board, which would be Reva submitting vouchers because she was authorized by the library board.
Those funds never come into the village of Deckerville, just so you know. So if that's the case, that obviously is a different way that has been incorporated. Those funds go directly to the library. They do not
This
come
is
into
set
the
up by the
village.
state of Michigan, is how it's supposed to
Well,
operate.
then, we need to find out from the county treasurer why she is not giving those
No,
funds
why
to the
don't you-
village.
No, this is state law.
Again, the county treasurer is who doles those funds out.
Well, obviously, she don't know.
Okay,
Why don't you talk to an attorney?
We
Your
have,
attorney.
that is on our agenda, when you get done here tonight, when you get your discussion done, that is what on our agenda tonight, to talk to an attorney,
Why didn't you do that beforehand, Don, before this crap?
because I am not going to go without conducting business with an attorney before this board tells me to do
You
it.
don't wanna know ahead beforehand?
No, I don't,
what
because
you
this
can
has
do,
been going
what
on
you
too
can't.
long, Dave, this has been going way too
Yes, it
long.
has.
What you should have done.
And the thing is, we have never, the village of Deckerville, as a council, has never acted on anything that the village, or that the library board has ever done. The library has been always totally separate. Up until a year ago, within the last year, we have never had any contact with, and I've been on here a long time, we've never had any contact with the village, with the library board, except for when they went for some bonding. We had to approve a bond for the new part of the building.
Does that mean that was the right way to do it?
But this goes back to my original question. We have never, ever had the issues that we're having now with people not being able to stay on the board. The core reason we're all here tonight is because you guys can't hold a quorum. You cannot get enough members to stay on the board. We went from every member resigning to
Correct.
2 members resigning. Every single time I come to a meeting, a board member is resigning. So what is the core problem? Why are you not able to keep board members?
Actually,
No, I'm asking Reva as the
Yes, I
library
am
master.
You know, it's funny because none of you had asked that beforehand.
I'm asking
It's been
Reva.
going on, yes, it
Yes.
has. Did you ever think that no one before had problems with them cutting corners and breaking laws? I was literally told, it's lax here. I've been yelled at. I've been said that I've called people racist. I'm white. I do not claim anybody is racist. I have
I'm
not
even
talked to anybody.
I'm not even, I wanna know why you can't keep members. I don't wanna know what people have said to you.
Start the timer.
I wanna know why your people,
And
why,
actually, it shouldn't be a timer because I'm not public, because I'm on the agenda.
No, we can time it.
Okay?
yeah.
So,
We've had different friends that you've had a lot of different people.
there is
that come around the
definitely,
board.
Dana, our,
Well, why did
Formal?
Dana, do you wanna tell us why you resigned?
yeah, would you like to tell?
Honestly, I feel that it was not a very good situation. I don't think that the way things are necessarily handled outside of the board are the best. and the gossip, finding a lot of really interesting information about myself on the internet today was not exactly how I wanted to start my afternoon with my children. And that in itself is just ridiculous, so.
And I would agree.
And I have no idea what she's talking about, because I have not posted anything online. I do not prosecute anyone, sorry.
Then can I ask who put it on the library Facebook page?
One of the people that were part of the library that does the posting. We've got several people. And no names were mentioned. Nothing
Your mom has shared some information.
That's my mom. That has nothing to do with the library. And make sure that that does not go under my time.
And that, when you have to live next door to somebody and there's that kind of tension, I don't think that it's a great idea. Imagine living in a neighborhood with somebody when there's tension like that, but next door is extremely difficult.
Would you like to mention also the last meeting you went to, you told our board members to suck your ass?
Yeah, as I was
Okay,
ready to.
please watch your language in here.
It was
All right, that's enough. That's neither here nor there. We're gonna talk about the library. We're gonna talk about how we're gonna solve the problem here. That's all we're talking about. We're gonna try and solve the problem. We're all friends and neighbors. We wanna stay friends and neighbors. We don't want this argument. It doesn't, maybe the argument needs to happen, but it doesn't need to be in an offensive manner. So let's just try and get along and talk about it, because that's how things are solved, okay?
At this point, from the information that I've been told, and what we can do as a library, as a village board, is that since we now have a resignation in front of us from one of your 4 members that you have that takes you below quorum. At this point, we can act to try to fill that spot and appoint somebody until the next election where they can then be legally elected by the citizens of the village. That is what we can do tonight. That's all we planned. I don't believe that anything was planned until we found this resignation. There may have been talk in the community, there may have been a lot of things that have been said on Facebook or other social media platforms, or just things that have been said in the coffee shop. I'm not sure what's going on exactly with that.
It was
And
actually
I'm not-
settled on claims over.
Well, hold on. I'm going to just say the bottom line is what I know. This is what I know personally. What we can do here in a legal context is to appoint one person to fill that spot that has been resigned. That is all that I know that we can do. Now, there may be other things that are that we're supposed to do. But so far, from any information that I've gotten, that's what we can do. And if there's more that we can do, we do need to actually probably get our lawyer and our attorney to tell us what our obligations are, and we're going to have to get into that. That is going to cost the citizens of Deckerville money. Just so everybody's here, that's going to cost all of our citizens money. And that's why we probably at this point have decided not to do that, is to actually get the attorney's opinion. Because we're trying to save all the taxpayers of Deckerville from having to incur that cost.
And Joe, I did check with my attorney also,
Okay?
and that's what I was gonna point out to you guys. You do have the availability.
Does he
for
have,
that.
does he know library law?
He's worked in with libraries,
Okay.
yes, and
All right.
actually,
Which attorney
he
are you
informed me in regards to the township. We're probably not gonna get involved with it.
Well,
No.
he's not-
Ours-
Yep.
Okay,
And that's absolutely fine. Again, and I don't know that that's under anybody here. Some of the things that have been done by members of this board are done by citizens as a citizen of the village of Deckerville. That doesn't mean they're acting as a member of the board or with the board's backing. So some of the things that are said are by a citizen looking, as a concerned citizen looking into the library, which again, I'm very concerned about what's going on at the library. I would like to see it functioning. I want to see it thrive. I would love to see our library get bigger, do more things, do a lot of things. That's what I would love to see. There seems to be a lot of problems going on, and we need to get through those problems so that that can happen. So what I would like to get through here tonight is that we can get somebody appointed to this board, the library board, which is what we can do tonight here. And then at that point, hopefully, if there's any way we can help you as individuals, not as a board, because I can't give legal advice as a trustee of Deckerville, but I would, if anybody out there would like any help, I would be more than happy as a citizen of Deckerville to come and help to try to get that board and that library thriving and back to a point where everybody can go in there and be happy and we don't have the tension that's obviously here in this room tonight.
Sir, can I ask a question?
Certainly.
You have to live within the village, right? I live in the trailer park. Am I within the village?
Yes.
The trailer park is absolutely
Could
within the village.
I be on the board then?
You could be up for,
I would like to do that.
okay, well, we will absolutely use that. When you say that, we would have to take recommendations.
You can't use our bubble here.
I would also like to volunteer my time as an appointment to the library board.
All right.
Nothing else, we got to do
We're definitely gonna have to take all these appointments under review tonight, and then we're gonna have to make a decision, just so
Just to
everybody
let you
understands.
guys know, you do have to file, with the village in order to be up on the ballot for election.
That would be the ballot. This is for appointment tonight by our board.
Oh,
That,
okay.
come the November election, or the next election cycle, then you would have to be then, to go through and register, to be on that ballot and then to
By
get voted.
July, yeah, by July.
I think that's what
Those
it is.
forms are available here.
I don't have that information exactly, but.
I have a question. The county treasurer writes a check to somebody for the Deckerville Public Library. Who received that check this year?
The library, has received it in the past. It received it from last year. I had just started in when, it had been deposited. We have not gotten it this year yet.
You have not received, nobody's received it yet this year?
Correct.
Is the reason we have not received the check because we do not have a budget for the library?
I can't answer that. I don't have
No,
that.
they probably haven't issued the checks yet from the, tax. It's all part of the millage.
Okay.
I also just wanna note it, I did hand Don a letter of interest.
We've got one here too. Monica Rosinski got it signed,
She had attended the past two meetings. She was unfortunately not able to come to this one due to a softball game.
As far as I can tell, that we can appoint them up to quorum, which would be right now, you have 3 standing members, correct?
Correct.
That we have appointed, so we can appoint one more. And get them to quorum. At that point, those 4 members need to get together
and make a
and
budget.
appoint more people to get you to a point where not all 4 have to be there to hold the meeting.
Yes.
That is where the problem lies right now. At the point we had 4 people until this last resignation, those 4 people could never get together for whatever reason. And I'd like to make it a point, because I've heard this from a couple different members, it's those 4 people that need to be at the meeting. No one else has to be there. It does have to be a public meeting, it has to be posted, you have to do all the things to legally make a meeting. But those 4 people that are the appointed members need to be there. No other family members, not even you as the director, need to be present at that meeting. Because those 4 people can make decisions as a board at that point. So that's all that has to be there. So if there's been scheduling conflicts with other people, thinking that we needed to have, half the town there, obviously that's not the case.
No,
So I'd just like to make that apparent to everybody that is on the board that's here tonight.
That was never the problem. We
Okay.
weren't having issues.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. I had heard in the past that you just couldn't get together for whatever reason. So I just want to hopefully make it easier for you guys
Well, like
once you
they-
get aboard.
Like they had said, the 3 of us would show up, and then another member wouldn't show up, and you'd schedule, and then we'd reschedule and do makeup ones, and the same person would never show
Well,
up.
it looks like maybe at this point we can, it seems that you 3 are there, then we'll get one more, and hopefully you guys can do it as soon as possible. That would be to the benefit of us all.
Yes, I get a so there's, no funds at all for the library? Now, is there funds available that just haven't been issued to us? Or cause I believe we have a library millage, am
Yes.
I correct? Okay.
That's the money that has not come from the,
That's a question for the county treasurer. who
Oh,
handles those
okay.
funds.
that's the money that hasn't come from the treasury.
Well, I'd like to do whatever I could do. I don't have time to serve on a library board, but, could I make a donation? Would that help anything, or whatever?
We would love
Anything would help.
donations,
I'd be willing to
your
donate some money
your
as well.
time, anything.
Absolutely, and again, I think this community as a whole, and it shows by the attendance that we have here tonight, is vastly behind this library doing well. I don't think there's any lack of support for the library. I think the issue comes is just people are trying to figure out what the legalities are of governing said library. We need to get you back to a functioning board. That's our job here tonight.
And that's what we thought
And
we
that's
had done.
all we can do.
Yep, that's what we thought we had done
So-
before.
I think unless anybody, okay, looks like we have some more, comments, but.
Yeah, I have a question. You said if you get these 4 people seated and they can name more members to the board?
Yes, that is their responsibility at that point.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to
Yep.
clarify that.
As far as there being problems keeping an active board prior to Reba being hired, I resigned a year ago. I had been on the board for 9 or 10 years, and I can only remember 2 people resigning in those 9 years. One was Allison Hazelton, who died 6 months later with cancer, and Barb Cowley, who resigned a year ago in January because of health issues. The second thing is, you really do need to look into how it's paid, because Dave is right. I went to the small rural library conference 2 years ago, talked to a lawyer. And I can't remember why the board asked me to do that, but when I explained to him that we had our own checkbook, that we had a savings account and a checking account and a couple of CDs, he looked at me and said, "What? You have not read the act?" He refused to talk to me any longer. He turned around and walked away.
Why didn't you fix it?
Jill and I brought it up to the board. If you go back to the audit from 2 years ago, there's a paper that has to be signed by 2 people, somebody on the board and the director, or 2 people, and Jill and I both brought it up to the accountants 2 years ago. The accountants don't care. They don't know library law. It was not broke. They didn't worry about fixing it.
And I think that's maybe,
There is a problem
I
with
think
the
that is
way
maybe
people
the root of this problem is that things have just
not
functioned.
it's
They've
not-
always functioned.
It's not just the payroll, it's all the
Sure.
bills.
Certainly.
The library
And I
should
think
not
that's,
have their own
I think that's
paycheck.
again, one of the big problems, and we do need to look into it, absolutely. I mean, we need to find out, make sure that the citizens' funds that are coming in from the taxpayers of the village of Deckerville and all the surrounding areas that actually do pay into that, they're actually township funds that go to fund this board, or this library as well, on top of the village funds. And you're not being represented at that point, I guess, by, not having the availability to be on the board. And that's not an issue we can really take up here today, but the bottom line is, all we can do as a board here today is get somebody appointed. There are tons of issues, and we definitely need to look into it, there's no doubt about that. But we need to do our job here tonight and get somebody appointed that is going to do a job, that's willing to do the job of making sure that that library functions properly. And maybe we do have to do some figuring out between the village and the library. I'm pretty sure everybody up here, I'm not speaking for everybody, I'm speaking for myself, but we want to work with you guys, and it's always worked for all these years, and we want to keep that. Nobody wants to sever ties, unless it becomes a problem where it's putting the village under legal scrutiny or under liability risk. That would be the only reason why we would sever ties with the library. Obviously that building is owned by the village. There's ties that run very deep between the village and the village library and that board. So we do need to keep all of this open. The biggest thing is we have a job to do here tonight. And without taking up everybody's time any further, unless anybody has anything to say against these nominations happening, we would like to appoint somebody here tonight and get this done. Has anybody got anything to say before we go further with that?
Can I just ask one question?
Sure.
Do you have to be a resident in the village
Yes.
to be?
You have to be
Or
a
they have-
registered voter of the village of Deckerville. Oh. Yes.
And that's
Joe,
probably.
I realize you said we cannot handle the issues with becoming a district tonight.
Sure.
I do have one question though. What would it take to become a district library so that that area
I
is
do not know.
expanded?
I have no idea.
Okay, is that something
I've
the
never looked
board
into that
is going
because
to
it's
look
not,
into?
that is not under the purview of a trustee of the village of Deckerville, so I've never looked into that.
The first step is to get 2 municipalities to agree to do it,
Okay,
and it sounds like Marion Township doesn't want to.
okay.
Well, it isn't that we don't want to, it's that the lawyer suggested that we not, because the,
At the present time.
Until
Right.
issues are
Yeah.
resolved.
right,
Yeah.
with all the
Okay.
stuff going
Yeah,
on.
I understand
I
that
talked
totally.
to him today, and he said that all the lawyers and towns, all the things he's been involved with libraries and townships and forming districts with the township responsible, you know, a part of it, that he's ran into some legal issues. It's been kind of a
And
mess.
reading those acts and reading those things, it's amazing the amount of differences between a city library, a township library, a village library, a district library. There are many ways to organize a library, and the information that I have, what we could do tonight is appoint one person, and that is it.
Up until this issue all happened, I wasn't even aware of that section of that act.
May I ask a question? Out of ignorance, I don't know any, I just don't understand that all these taxpayers, and they have nothing, they have no say at all because they don't live in town. That doesn't make any
Well,
sense
I
to
understand
me.
that. Believe me, that is an issue that needs to be taken up
We do
with.
have a say, so this is the thing, people don't understand. I have 7 properties in this town, I don't live here, I live in Marion Township, okay? Now, I have a say so, we're here right now, just as well as anybody else in the township.
It ain't doing me any good. I wanna be on the board.
Well, yeah. You know, the thing is that we're voicing our opinion, and you know, that's what needs to be done.
The requirements are not set forth by us. I do not set, we don't set those requirements. I'm not sure who does. It's in those acts that it's set forth where you can, you know, that you have to be a village resident, a voter, a registered voter of the village of Deckerville. I don't get to make that decision. Nobody here gets to make that decision. So we just have to play within the rules that are laid out for us.
And you have to follow the statute. Yeah.
I have a answer actually to Carrie's. There were a lot of problems. I sat on the board for a really brief time, which apparently not officially, because the board at that time did not do things that were necessarily kosher. They did not run the board the way it was supposed to. I was never actually even sworn in, so anything that I voted on
On the library board.
on the library does not count. And that was, yeah. I
That's what
had
I
no
mean, it
clue.
just seems like there's so many
That
people
was,
who
and
can't-
that was that board.
You were appointed?
I was appointed and never
Never
sworn in.
Yep. That's
And
interesting.
and I never knew that was supposed to take place until
That's
the next
interesting.
person. So all of those things that I voted on, they're illegal.
I was appointed originally because I took Karen Fritz's place and I was not sworn in, I didn't get sworn in.
So everything that you did was also illegal.
I did get sworn
Just saying. And so then she came in and she said, we can't do it this way because this is not proper. All of a sudden that became an issue for the old board because they were doing things the way they were doing things and it wasn't the proper way. And suddenly that became an issue.
Yeah, that's another problem with
nobody
having
was-
an autonomous board, is we didn't know this was, that you weren't sworn in.
Yeah, and
I didn't know it was supposed to be or I would have said something.
the same thing happened with the township. That's why so many members were replaced by reappointment by me, because they hadn't been put on staggered terms like the law states.
Right,
And they hadn't been re-sworn in every time the term was up.
right.
So that's what the board, any board needs to do when you're appointing somebody.
Well, I think also that we should have some sort of a, packet that explains what your position is for each of the different things, because you have certain things that you can do, certain things you don't, certain things that, you know, are your responsibility. And when you're going in blind, I've had Audrey to help me. When you're going in blind, it is very hard to understand what it is, what you can and cannot do, and what you are supposed to be doing.
And there again, it's always worked, so it's never been an issue.
Well, and it was not working the way it was supposed to be, and when they found out they weren't doing it correctly, that was not received quite well.
And
Also-
to spin off of Monica's thing, I do have packets and I've given them handouts. To go off of Karen Bennett's thing, I also went to the Small Worlds Library, paid out of my pocket, her pocket as well. We like classes.
Yeah,
I think.
Brian said you went somewhere last week
Yes.
when I was talking about it.
And it also was, I heard a good presentation on how to keep board members, and really it is what you said. They need to know what they're going into. They need to come in when we're just operating. We need to go in and have a little orientation. And that's why I gave them more, and you know, I found even more resources that I want to do. The Library of Michigan actually has some videos to show how to run a meeting and everything. So they will be even more trained than I've given them.
Another thing that everybody was concentrating on why we can't find members. And you all said the same thing, the words when find members, and yet not one of you stepped up to become a member.
I'm gonna put my name in the hat tonight, just so you know. My name's going in the ring tonight to
He
make
had
sure.
told me that already.
So,
What could have been before?
Yeah.
and you know,
Well,
I
don't know
just,
that
I
that-
wasn't
and I don't know
sure.
that that's fair, because a lot of us are involved in a lot of things.
And I was not sure that I could. I wasn't sure
Well,
that I
I'm
could
just
serve on
saying,
this
I
board and that board, especially with us doing the appointing. So I've actually looked into it. I do believe I can
More than
serve
one
on that
person from
board.
the village council.
I would have
serve
to
on it.
obviously abstain for the vote, and I'm gonna put my hat in the ring tonight to also be
The only,
up on appointment
the
for that.
only issue that would be you cannot be on a ballot twice. So if your term is up,
I will not be running for
You cannot-
re-election at that point. I just doing this to get through. I love to hear that there's other people, and I don't want to take, you know, I hope I don't get appointed, let's put it that way. But I'm going to put my hat in the ring, so. Can we please, if there's no further comment, get on to getting this appointment done?
One more. It has nothing to do with that. Also on Karen Bennett, she did email and let us know that she can't do the groundskeeping anymore. And I just wanted to do official acknowledgement that we appreciate all the service she's done. I know everybody's seen the lawn. The flowers are always beautiful. It was in the paper last year, so. We are very thankful. No, I don't want you to think that I'm not thankful. You worked very, very hard on that, and it shows.
Thank you for all your time
Thanks, Karen.
and effort.
Thanks, Karen.
Should probably hear from anybody that's here that wants to be appointed.
How many applications do you have total now?
I've got one written,
And then the people here who have said they wanna be on or?
but we need to appoint one and they can handle the
Yeah.
rest of it.
I mean, how many do you have right now that?
One official.
1, 2, I guess I would be the third one that's officially put their hat in the ring tonight.
And 4.
And then obviously the one that's not here.
Yeah, Brian, and then I'm not sure, what was your name?
Faye Brinker.
Faye Brinker? We have Brian, Tiffany, after visits, you go to it.
Just so everybody understands, I'm going to be listening in, I'll be here on this, but I will not be doing any voting on any of these appointments because I'm up for the appointment. So I'm not going to be, I'll be abstaining from all the voting that's going to happen here and all discussion, I'll be listening.
I think we should let them stand up and give them a presentation, tell them why they wanna be on the board.
That's not necessary, that's not.
I'll make a motion that we appoint Joe Kubik to the board.
Is there support?
I'll support it.
I thank everybody else for volunteering, and hopefully they'll appoint some more, but I think it would probably be a good idea. I mean, I think it is good that somebody from the board, you know, I think that would be a good insight for us, so.
Any other nominations? All those in favor of appointing Joe Kubik to the existing position on the library, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same? We'll be all right.
I'd like it noted that I did abstain from that vote.
Joe did abstain. All right, so you do have a functioning board. You need to set meetings. You need to get a budget. Once you get a budget, everything starts rolling back the way it should be.
Thank you.
And also, we need to get more people on board.
You need to get, yeah, 2 more people. You need to have at least 5. 6 is a weird figure, but that's the way the thing's
As
set
a
up.
board, you guys elect me as your president, your secretary.
Yes.
Now that there's a full 4-member board, how does one go about
Okay.
volunteering to be appointed or elected?
It would be at the next library board meeting and that will be publicly posted, when is your next scheduled meeting?
Next scheduled meeting, we typically do the 3rd Tuesday. It has not been scheduled because it had not been scheduled. We
Well, it
would
doesn't
have to
publicly
get,
posted.
we have to get
We can have
together.
a special meeting at that point too. So
Okay.
get this, and we can, we'll discuss that by the end of the night, so we can
Okay.
just come up with a special meeting, and that can be publicly posted with the proper amount of notification time.
And actually, at that meeting, that's when the quorum would get together, vote the officers on who they want as the president,
Set
the
their
treasurer,
time,
and clerk.
set their meetings.
Set their meetings, and then you can work on reappointing or appointing people that volunteer.
And it will be public information when that meeting will be, and that's at that point,
All right.
that's when you would.
At
put your
present, we do
appointment.
not want to, well, you're not sworn in yet, so we're okay. But, at present, after you're sworn in, so we're not gonna do that tonight, so we're good. We don't wanna talk any more about the library because you do have a quorum in the room.
Probably a good idea.
So,
And I think we
thank you everybody for coming in for this. There's been a lot of tension. We gotta get this thing going. We thought we had it solved, but it just keeps reappearing.
Well, I want to say the library is vital to our community.
It is.
And I
agree.
thank the board for taking the time to sort out the problems. I have great faith that I'm still gonna be able to go to the library.